I'm coming for #1 spot, and that's South African Dricus Du Plessis.
Exploding into the limelight for many who have never heard of him, Dricus Du Plessis sure knows how to make an entrance. Born in the heart of South Africa, this unassuming fighter has been making waves in the UFC, not just for his impressive record, but also for his recent beef with Israel Adesanya over the real African champion debate.
I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to do it in South Africa or Nigeria.
Known by his nickname Still Knocks, Du Plessis is a force to be reckoned with, boasting a world kickboxing championship and a formidable record of 19 wins in 21 total MMA fights. His journey from a small town in Pretoria to the global stage of the UFC was nothing but respectable. Before we dive in, you can help us out a lot. If you find this video entertaining and valuable, do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're a small channel still trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark, and your sub would mean a lot to us. Now let's get on with it. Early days. Dricus Du Plessis was born January 14, 1994 in Hatfield, Pretoria, South Africa. An important fact for later on. His journey into the world of martial arts began at the age of 5 when he started training in judo. This early exposure to discipline, focus, and physical fitness laid the foundation for his future career in combat sports. As he grew older, Du Plessis' interest in martial arts evolved. By the age of 14, he'd transitioned to kickboxing. His natural aptitude for the sport was evident from the start. He demonstrated a unique blend of speed, power, and technical precision that set him apart from his peers. His talent and hard work eventually led him to become a Whitaker world champion in K1 style kickboxing, a testament to his dedication and skill. However, Du Plessis was not just a one-sport athlete. During his teenage years, he also excelled in rugby, a sport that is deeply ingrained in South African culture. His experience on the rugby field honed his teamwork skills, physical toughness, and strategic thinking. It also gave him a taste of high-level competition, preparing him for the challenges he would later face in the octagon. Despite his success in kickboxing and rugby, Du Plessis recognized the financial limitations of these sports. He realized that to truly make a career out of his passion for contact sports, he would need to venture into a more lucrative field, in his own words. This led to him strategically deciding to shift his focus to MMA. Although transitioning to MMA for financial reasons is a horrible decision, it seems it worked out fine for him. In MMA, Du Plessis found a sport that challenged him even more than kickboxing or rugby. It required a blend of skills from various martial art disciplines, as well as a high level of physical fitness and mental toughness. Thankfully, he checked all these boxes. So let's take a closer look at his MMA career. Professional career, EFC and KSW. Dricus Du Plessis began his professional fighting career in 2013 when he got a lucky break, just days before a scheduled fight in the Extreme Fighting Championship, also known as the EFC. One of the fighters had to pull out. Du Plessis' coach saw this as an opportunity and asked him if he was willing to step in. Without hesitation, Du Plessis agreed. In the EFC, Du Plessis quickly made a name for himself, winning titles in both middleweight and welterweight divisions. After a few years of dominating the promotion, his success caught the attention of the Polish-based promotion KSW. His first opponent in KSW was a formidable one, Roberto Soldic. Despite Roberto's skill and reputation, Du Plessis managed to defeat him by taking Roberto off his legs with a well-placed left hook and backpacking him into a rear naked choke. However, 6 months later, Soldic avenged his loss in the rematch. Despite this setback, Du Plessis didn't let it deter him. He went on to win another fight in KSW via TKO. In addition to his success in KSW, Du Plessis also continued to compete in the EFC, where he secured another victory. His impressive performances in both promotions eventually led him to signing with the UFC, marking a new chapter in his professional career. UFC career. Dricus Du Plessis made his grand entrance into the UFC on October 11, 2020 at the UFC Fight Night 179. His opponent, Marcus Perez, a seasoned fighter. But Du Plessis, true to his nickname, Still Knocks, delivered a stunning knockout in the first round, announcing his arrival on the global stage in fashion. His journey to the UFC continued to be marked by a series of impressive victories. On July 10, 2021 at UFC 264, he faced Trevin Giles. Du Plessis once again showcased his knockout power, ending the fight in the second round and earning the Performance of the Night award. His winning streak continued as he faced Tavares at UFC 276 July 2, 2022. This was Du Plessis' first win that didn't end in a stoppage, but via unanimous decision. One of his most notable fights in the UFC came at UFC 282, where he faced Darren Till.
I do believe Darren Till has everything that it takes to be a champion, but not at middleweight.
Du Plessis managed to submit Till in the 3rd round, earning him the Fight of the Night award. His most recent fight was against Derek Brunson at UFC 285. In a testament to his relentless spirit, Du Plessis won via technical knockout due to a corner stoppage at the end of the 2nd round. As of now, Du Plessis is preparing for a title eliminator fight against former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whitaker, scheduled for July 8, 2023 at UFC 290. But will he be able to take on the Reaper? Upcoming fight versus Whitaker. The upcoming fight between Dricus Du Plessis and Robert Whitaker at UFC 290 July 8th is set to be a thrilling contest. This middleweight #1 contenders bout will be taking place in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where great fights happen, and it's already generating a lot of buzz in the MMA community. Bobby, as you already know, is a former middleweight champion and is a seasoned fighter with a record of 24 wins and 6 losses in an MMA. He's beaten everyone in the division except for the current champion over the past 9 years. On the other hand, Dricus Du Plessis has been a bit of a surprise package in the UFC so far, with a record of 19 wins and 2 losses in MMA and undefeated 5-0 in the UFC. Du Plessis has the ability to turn fights into wild, unpredictable contests, which is never a good thing, no matter how experienced the opponent is. Whitaker has noted that Du Plessis' previous opponents may have underestimated him, leading to their downfall.
One of the biggest things his opponents do, and that's the biggest mistakes all of his previous opponents have done, is they underestimate him because he's not super flashy.
However, Bobby is determined not to make that same mistake. He's preparing for a tough fight, expecting 15 minutes of absolute carnage. Whitaker's strategy is to stay composed and not let Du Plessis drag him into a messy fight. Whitaker acknowledges Du Plessis' toughness, cardio, and complete skill set, but firmly believes that he's the better fighter overall. Looking at their fighting styles, Whitaker is known for his striking footwork and takedown defense, while Du Plessis is known for his power, grappling, and ability to finish fights. Both fighters have their unique strengths, but the outcome may well depend on who can better implement their game plan and control the pace of the fight. There's also another reason why Du Plessis has been generating buzz: beef with Adesanya. This sole moment generated so much backlash and infighting in the MMA community that one could even imagine.
We wake up in Africa every day. We train in Africa, we're African born, we're African raised. We still reside in Africa, we train out of Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
The fuck is this cracker to tell me who the fuck I am, who the fuck Kamaru is, who the fuck Ngannou is? I'm like, are you dumb?
The middleweight division of the UFC was set ablaze when Dricus Du Plessis challenged Israel Adesanya's African heritage during the UFC 285 press conference. Du Plessis, who was born in, resides, and also trains in Africa, boldly claims that he was the true representative of Africa in the UFC. Adesanya, the middleweight champion, responding by calling Du Plessis out. However, Du Plessis later clarified his comments in an interview with Submission Radio. He stated that he never claimed to be more African or denied Adesanya's African heritage.
I didn't say they were not African. I don't know what's the other narrative that was put out there.
Instead, he was simply highlighting the fact that he's the only contender born in Africa, residing and training on the continent. He emphasized that his success is deeply rooted in Africa and his daily commitment to training in his home country. Despite the controversy, Du Plessis expressed respect for Adesanya as a fighter, praising him as an incredible fighter and potentially one of the greatest middleweights to ever do it.
As a fighter, I've always had mad respect for Israel Adesanya. I think he's an incredible fighter. And
the beef has added an extra layer of intrigue to the middleweight division and has the MMA community eagerly awaiting a potential title fight between the two. If Du Plessis manages to get a win over the Reaper, that's it. His upcoming fight against Robert Whitaker promises to be a thrilling contest, one that could potentially pave the way for a title fight against Israel Adesanya, which we'd love to see. Regardless of the outcome, one thing can be certain: Dricus Du Plessis has already made his mark in the UFC, and he's just getting started. Do we think he can get past Rob and Israel? More than likely not, but he's just hitting his prime. Who knows? Maybe in 2, maybe 3 years, he might become the boogeyman of the division.